What's up, Met fans? Welcome to season 2 of the SheaLess podcast. Not the way we wanted to kick off our second season of the podcast. Really disappointing week for all Met fans out there. Just with the news coming out today that Pete Alonso signs for 5 years, $150 million with the Baltimore Orioles. Followed that up with the news coming out yesterday of Edwin Diaz signing with, of course, the LA Dodgers. Just Vin, really bad week. Like we said, in the intro, not the way we wanted to start season 2. But let's hear your thoughts. What do you think about these?
Steve Cohen let David Stearns rip our hearts out.
Yeah,
We spoke about it. We were okay with trading Nimmo. And let me say this because everybody knows our feelings on Brandon Nimmo. I'm okay with trading Brandon Nimmo. It's got to be an upgrade.
hmm
I don't want like a parallel movement. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be, you trade Nimmo, but you sign Bellinger type thing, or you bring in Kyle Tucker, and
hmm
then you let Diaz go. Really tough pill to swallow,
right.
especially where he ended up.
Yep.
24 hours later, you let Pete Alonso go. And that's like the icing on the cake for me. Like David Stearns, you're a clown. That's how I feel. I don't care if you trade for Tatis, if you sign Kyle Tucker, you sign Michael King. There's no going back from this.
Right.
This was our guy.
Mhm.
He was not the problem. Everybody knows my feelings about Pete Alonso from last year. I was okay with letting him go at certain points. And the more I thought about it, the more it was, well, this is this generation's David Wright. We could go on forever, right? Nolan Ryan, Tom Seaver, Jose Reyes, Jacob DeGrom. The list goes on. This was the guy. And I'm borderline feeling the Wilpons were better than Steve Cohen
hmm
because the guy that they had, David Wright, the one thing I can never take away from the Wilpons, they did David Wright the right way, all the way up until the last day, letting him retire as a Met, letting him get back on the field, the insurance money. David Stearns, not only did you rip out the hearts of Met fans, you destroyed this franchise. So he better make a turnaround and quick and better win fast. I don't know how he's going to do it now
Yeah.
because you just let 40 somewhat home runs and 110 to 120 RBIs walk out the door. I don't know where
Yep.
you're getting I don't know where you're replacing that,
You're
but
not.
this is awful. This is terrible.
You're not replacing it. And unfortunately, not only are you not replacing him, you're not, like we said, you're not replacing Diaz. And like you said, I was okay with the Nimmo trade because the logic made sense. I can comprehend the logic of wanting to improve the defense of this team. That made sense to me. That move made sense. This move, there has to be something that we don't know. There has to be something that we don't know as fans. Because
Then
if it
tell us.
I was getting there. If simply him not playing defense cannot be the reason why you let a franchise player walk out the door. If it was just the defense, if we find out that he didn't want Pete just because of the defense, there's a major problem that is running this organization. I had a lot of reserve and I have a lot of concerns with a guy like Steve Cohen buying the franchise. The
You
moment he
did.
signed,
You did.
if you followed us, if you were on our lives back into 2020 and 2021, I said from day one, when a multi-billionaire who has no connection to a baseball organization buys a team, he's buying a team. Yes. Does Steve Cohen love the Mets? Yes, he does. Does he care about the franchise? Yes. Has he spent money? Absolutely. Is the Mets Steve Cohen's number one priority? In my opinion, that answer is no. He is a multi-billionaire way before he became the Mets owner. He's going to be a multi-billion owner way after he's the Mets owner when that time comes. Long story short, I was scared that days like this would happen where he bought the team and when it was time for him to open the wallet and it was time for him to step in and overstep when he needed to overstep, he would not be there. And no time more than this, he needed to step up.
And I feel the complete opposite. Well, I felt the complete opposite. I thought when Steve Cohen came here, these days were over. The losing
I
the
just
Jose Reyes. And the sickening part about this, like the thing that really gets me is how do you not even make this guy an offer? How
yeah,
do you not make Pete Alonso an offer? There's
it's
no way unless, like I said, they better come out and tell us something because all
and that
we've heard is that Jeff McNeil's been the problem. And
right,
who's the last guy standing on this roster?
Jeff
Jeff
McNeil.
McNeil.
It makes absolutely no sense. I can't even wrap my head around the fact that it happened so fast.
Yeah.
Like Nimmo was okay, then Diaz, Alonso gone. So now you look back 3 weeks, and the entire regime of Nimmo, Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso, and that crew with Diaz, because I would consider him part of that crew, is gone.
Yeah. Yep.
So how bad was that locker room? Like, how bad was the divide in that locker room that they felt that it was time to move on from the franchise's all-time home run leader? Like, was it
Oh,
that toxic in that locker room that Mendoza couldn't keep those guys together? And we don't know that. And I don't know if we'll ever know that, because Stearns runs he doesn't let too much information out. As we know, he's very, short with his responses. He's very tight. He keeps things behind closed doors. But it's frustrating, and we've seen this time and time again, and they continue to do it. They continue to let these franchise guys walk out the door. And Vin, you made such a great point the other day on the live, and I just want to reiterate it. We saw that one team, the Pittsburgh Pirates, made an offer for Kyle Schwarber,
yep.
and Philly said, we can't let this guy go. I'm upping the offer. We're keeping our guy. All it took was one team to do that. And we let Diaz go. Now we let Alonso go. And not a word from the owner. Not a word.
Yep.
Not a word from the owner. And a very vanilla PC answer
I think
from,
it was a BS answer.
yeah, it was nothing from the GM last night. The fact that he said he's optimistic about the offseason still, and then the next morning he lets Alonso walk out the door, I don't even know. I don't even.
And I'm gonna use a quote that I heard on the fan. I actually I reposted it, I think. I love what Evan Roberts said. I
Yeah,
love the quote he
shout out
used.
to Evan. Evan's a goat.
You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah,
They played stupid games with Alonso last season, and they got lucky. They got
yeah.
extremely lucky that the market didn't play out.
Hmm.
Well, guess what? He went out and proved it this year. You played a stupid game with him again, and now you're all-time home run leader. I would say, like, as long as I'm watching the Mets, one of the all-time fan favorites
Oh,
is now in Baltimore. I
you let
hope Pete hits 70 home runs this year.
he let two fan base favorites
Yep.
walk out the door. You want to talk about selling seats? You want us to pay $45 for parking? You want us to spend all this money in your ballpark, and then you let two fan favorites walk out the door? It's a disgrace.
And
It's an
and this is
absolute.
why, like, the Nimmo thing, I was okay with it. I wasn't I wasn't thrilled about what we got back for him. Let
But
me
it was
just say that.
logical. There
It
was
was
logic
logical.
behind it.
If you brought back Alonso, you had Simeon, you had
Right.
Lindor, and if you signed Cody Bellinger, I know not
Right.
a lot of people love him, but if
Right.
you signed Cody Bellinger, and this is what drives me nuts about Diaz.
Yeah.
This guy was your best he's your best relief pitcher in the history of the franchise.
Not only is he the best relief pitcher in the franchise, he's the best relief pitcher in baseball. He's the
He's the
best
best
closer in
closer in
baseball.
baseball. Why are you even messing around with a guy like that? You want to talk Stearns. This is I would love for David Stearns to see this. Met fans are not stupid. So
Right.
stop treating us like we are.
Right.
Stop saying run prevention, run
We
prevention, run prevention. You just let the best run prevention part of your pitching staff walk out the door.
Yeah.
When you heard somebody was talking to Diaz, and all we heard, this is another BS thing. 5 years, 5 years, 5 years. He just signed with the Dodgers for 3. So
For
why
3.
couldn't you offer him 4 for 80?
Yeah.
And we've said this before. We
Mhm.
talked about this. Devin Williams is in an impossible position now.
I feel bad for the guy.
Like the guy, let's say whether they talked about closing to him, whether they talked about his setup role, maybe he came into the Mets thinking, I'm gonna be the setup man, try to bring back Diaz. Well, now, and I'm gonna try my hardest not to be one of those guys. The first time this guy blows a save, the fan base is gonna be outraged.
Yeah.
Unless he's perfect this year,
Yeah.
he's in a lose-lose situation.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna try hard not to direct it. I will get mad at Devin Williams for blowing a save, but I don't want to give like David Stearns the satisfaction of not directing it at him also.
Right.
Because we all said
Well, get
we
Ben, I'm
said it.
sorry.
I love the Devin Williams signing if he's
Mhm.
the eighth inning guy.
Right. It made
Diaz
sense.
has to be the ninth inning guy.
It made sense if he was the eighth inning guy. It doesn't make sense that you're paying him $50 million to close.
Right.
It doesn't.
And people say it was only a $3 million difference between the Dodgers and the Mets. Okay, but let's look at Edwin Diaz side of
Right.
it. You just gave him $51 million, $6 million signing bonus. That's 57 million. You're
Right.
offering me 66. I've been here for 7 years.
Yeah.
I won three relief pitchers of the year. So
Hmm.
go the 4 for 80 with this guy. Stop messing around.
Yeah.
Stop nickel and diming with these free agents. That
Yeah.
Schwarber contract that we offered him was nonsense.
It might not even been an offer. They might have just said,
I feel like David Stearns does shit like this
yeah.
to appease the Met fans that are gonna buy into his
Oh,
stuff.
well,
Oh, well, at least we tried.
right.
Yeah,
We
okay.
tried, yeah, knowing the fact that there's no way he's accepting this offer.
Right.
Right. Well, Vin, I want to turn the conversation to that. I want to turn it directly on Stearns. And of course, like I said, Vinny runs the Instagram. He always tries his best to answer all the DMs that we get, all the messages that we get, the comments and everything. We appreciate all the comments over the last couple of days. It's been rapid fire, and we respect the opinions of everybody who comments. We love having you guys.
Right.
But the one thing that Vinny and I both agree on, and we agreed on it for a while, the fan base has to take a deep dive and really look at David Stearns and really look at his track record and really understand that, was he able to build a contender with Milwaukee? Sure. He was able to build, right. He was able to build a contender. Did they make the playoffs? Sure. They never won anything. He's never held a World Series trophy. He's
First
never
round
held that
exit.
trophy at the end of the year. And I think we forgot what the ultimate goal is here. The ultimate goal, especially since Cohen being here, is not to make the playoffs. It's not to be a competitor. It's to win a World Series. I'm tired
Yep.
of it. I don't know if you're tired of it, Vin, but we're tired of the fact that every year, like, this is the second time that Cohen has to tear it down to rebuild it. He did it with Scherzer and Verlander. Now he's doing it again, and we have to look at Stearns, and we have to stop giving him credit for being mediocre.
Yeah.
Yes. Can he balance a budget? Sure. Can he build a farm system? Okay, but he didn't build this farm system.
Right. He
Brody
built
Van
part of
Wagenen,
it.
first of all, Brody Van Wagenen only made those moves because he knew that Cohen was buying out Verlander and Scherzer. That's the only reason why we were able to get those prospects back. This had nothing to do with David Stearns. So that's real. That really bothers me when people say, "Oh, trust in David Stearns. He's a winner. He's gonna turn this franchise around." One, he's never done it in a big market. Two, he did it in the NL Central, which honestly was extremely weak.
Right.
So it wasn't hard to make the playoffs.
I think he's made one trade that off the top of my head, I would have to look more into it. I'd have to like dive deeper. He's made one trade that I can remember that was notable between the Mets and the Brewers, and that was it. And that
Yeah.
was because the Marlins were having an absolutely complete fire sale and handed Christian Yelich away.
And didn't the Brewers sign Burns the year after he came to us?
I don't remember.
Because there's just so many things that are just connecting the dots now that, like, we as fans were hoping for that we're not going to get now because of this guy's logic.
Yep.
Like, he says that he's never going to, he doesn't want to give a starting pitcher a long-term contract. Then why are we even interested in Tariq Skubal? Because he would never come here for 1 year, and because we're not signing him.
Well, eventually you're gonna have to bite the bullet. Like this bargain bin shit nonsense is insane. And this is I put something out on Instagram and I don't know if I worded it the wrong way or people didn't understand what I was saying. Eventually, this half-assing the off seasons is not gonna work, bro. Listen, you signed Soto last year.
But
We
unfortunately,
all love Juan Soto, and then what does he do? He signs Frankie Montauk. Like,
but
what are we
Vin,
doing?
But Vin, unfortunately, a guy like Stearns is so set in his ways, just like, and I'm not comparing the two, but just like a Bill Belichick, he's not going to change his ways for the fan base. This is how he runs his team. This is what he thinks is going to work. He's not going to bend his way to give the fans what they want. This is how he's going to have. He's operating. He's saying, I'm not going to spend big money on starting pitching. He's not going to do it. The only way he'll do it is if Steve Cohen steps in and says, I'm taking the reins here. I'm buying this contract.
Either that or Steve Cohen's gonna have to say, "I don't care what you say, I'm hiring a GM. You could be the president of baseball operations. I'm hiring a GM."
Yes, I agree. And I love the post that we made earlier yesterday about Cohen and Minaya. Because if Cohen and Minaya were teamed up together, this
We'd be
wouldn't
the
be a
Dodgers.
competition. Pete Alonso would be a Met and Edwin Diaz would be a Met.
We'd be the Dodgers.
It's that simple. We saw Omar Minaya have the power to do it in 06 and 07, putting a championship contender on the field with the Wilpons. If he was with Cohen, there wouldn't be a question.
Yep.
There wouldn't be a question.
And Another thing I want to say about David Stearns before I forget, we lost Diaz, we lost Alonso. I'm not watching SNY. I'm not looking at anything because if I have to see this guy smirk on his face again, it
Yeah,
it it bro, when I tell you it turns my stomach to
it's
see
everyone.
that smirk
The
and that
majority.
smug
Yeah,
smile like he knows better than everybody. Yo, let's you got lucky in year 1. You got
yeah,
lucky that Jose Iglesias and the OMG and Sean
yep.
Mania and all these guys,
Grimace and all this. Yeah,
Grimace, yeah, right. Year 2, I'll go out on a limb and say you were probably the biggest failure in New York sports history with your payroll, and
yep.
you failed miserably.
Miserably.
And
Yeah,
now, following that season, you let the best closer in baseball walk and a top 3 first baseman in baseball walk. You traded a fan favorite and a franchise guy in Nimmo for what? I'm telling you right now, don't try to sell me on Tyrone Taylor and Carson Benj playing center and left field next year because
and
I
Paul
won't even forget going. I won't even watch.
and Paul Goldschmidt at first.
That
That
I
talk
said
about
to
a
you
slap.
today,
Talk about a slap in the face.
bro,
Yeah,
if you sign Paul Goldschmidt, I'm done. I
yeah.
think actually this is the first episode I've done not wearing a Mets hat.
I honestly, it just it's so frustrating. And every Met fan that we've talked to, Vin, today on Instagram and just in person, and it's all the same. And we all feel the same way about Stearns. There's
Yeah,
not one person that looked at this and said, "I can see what he's doing. I trust Stearns." Nobody likes this guy right now.
yeah.
And
He's public enemy number 1 amongst
yeah,
Mets fans.
and he's never. New York media will tell you, and New York people will tell you, if you mess up in New York, you're never gonna rebound.
And I'm gonna say this to Met
The
fans.
only person, and I give him credit because he's really changed his ways. The only person that I give credit to and actually changing their ways and self-reflecting and looking at themselves in the mirror and said, I have to change, otherwise I'm never gonna make money here, is James Dolan. James Dolan
Yeah,
he ruined the Knicks for years. He finally said, I trust the guys in power to run my franchise. We haven't heard from him in years, and now the Knicks are doing better than they've ever done.
yep.
Other than that, if you mess up here as a GM, you will never do anything good. And
I
right now, this is the worst job we've ever seen from a Mets GM.
and I just don't know where you go, where you pivot now.
You can't. Vin, this offseason, you hate to say it because it's so early in the offseason. Outside of bringing in Tatis, this season is going to be a failure. It's a
Yeah.
wasted season. There
And
is no.
let's be real. When I this year's a punt. There's
What do
gonna
you
be a lockout.
What are you
What?
winning? What are we winning next year? This guy wants to go.
Nothing.
He wants to go into the season with 3 rookies in that starting rotation. What are we doing?
Yep. So you look at this year, it's a punt. We're looking at a lockout the year after. God knows what happens after that. At what point do things start to turn around? So now we're looking 5, 6 years down the road. We still haven't won shit.
But
And
the
now we
casino's
look
up.
yeah, great. That's another thing. You can't pay your franchise first baseman. You're building an $8 billion casino.
Yeah,
Don't talk to me about nickel and diming 3 years
but I'm
over
telling you,
Edwin Diaz.
it made total sense, Vin. And I was talking to a coworker today, and I didn't think of it at first, and when he said it, it makes total sense. And they'll never say it publicly because if they say it publicly, they will suffer financially. This year's a punt, next year's a lockout. The year after that, the salary cap, we believe, will be here. He's going to use the money that he's generating from the casino to use on the Mets team. It makes sense.
Well, then our payroll better be $2 billion.
Well, it can't be because there's going to be a cap now.
I don't think there's gonna be a cap. I don't
In
think the
my
CBA
opinion,
will stand for it.
in my opinion, these owners see that what's happening with the Dodgers. I think there's going to be a cap. I think it's
I
coming,
think they go after the deferred money before the cap.
but that's years down the road.
Well, we don't have much to look forward to now. So
I'll be completely bald by that point. I'll have no hair left. That's why you think I wear a hat every episode.
I just feel like Steve Cohen, you got me. You sold us a dream,
I told you.
and I can the one guy, the 2 guys I feel for, and I mean like baseball wise, and obviously all these guys are millionaires and doing what they're doing, but I'm talking about just strictly baseball and being able to compete. Lindor and Soto.
Yeah.
What 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 is Soto thinking right now?
More,
There's no
more,
way they told him this in the meeting.
no, more Lindor
What
than
is he
Soto.
thinking right now?
More Lindor than Soto, because Lindor is, turning 30. Soto is still very young. But now you look at the timetable before, if God forbid they really want to go down this road and waiting for the, after the strike, Soto's going to be almost 30. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. I really don't know. This week has been our friends, and bro, it was so funny today. And obviously, I didn't react like this in the moment because I was so heated. But it was funny, like everybody who reached out to us and be like, "Yo, somebody check on Lou and Vin.
Yep.
Somebody go see if Lou and Vin are okay," because they know how much we love this team. They know how much we care about this franchise. And unfortunately, it's the fans like us that care about this team more than the people running the team.
Yep.
And that's the biggest problem. And that's the
I'll,
biggest
I'll tell
problem.
you. I'll tell you a quick
It's
story.
always been the problem. It's been the problem since 1962. The fans care more than the ownership.
I'll tell you a quick story. Yesterday I was going to lunch and shout out Danny. I'm gonna tell him to watch this episode because he made an appearance on this episode.
That's
He,
Danny.
I told him about Diaz. He goes, I just walked away from my computer. I was refreshing Twitter, blah blah blah. I see him walking in the hallway today, and I get the passing alert. Go, yo, I go down the hallway. I'm like, yo, Dan comes walking back. He's like, yo, Alonso just signed with Baltimore. He goes, bro, I just walked away from Twitter. I said, bro, stop walking away from your fucking computer. Every time you walk away, something happens. And
Yeah,
he was disgusted. And then we're in the lunchroom, and James comes walking in. It was like one after the other, bro. It's
yeah.
this,
The,
like I said, I feel like my heart got ripped out.
this was bad. This is a bad one.
And going
I
back
can
to last year, because I've had some people reach out and, I forgot the guy's name on Instagram. He DM'd us and he was like, "Oh, you wanted him gone. Stop acting like this and that." And I'll be the first one to admit, at certain points last year, yes, I did want Pete Alonso gone. But like I said, the more I sat and the more I thought about it, and me and you had this conversation, my thing ended up being, this is our guy. Like I don't I kind of I pushed the defensive stuff aside and I stopped caring. My mind changed to, at what point do we have the career met? We let everybody walk.
everybody.
And this was supposed to be our guy that hits 500 home runs as a Met. And listen, after the way the franchise disrespected him, flat out dragged him through the mud the last two off seasons, for him, I'm thrilled that he got his pay because he
Yeah,
deserved it.
yeah.
He earned it, he deserved it. This was a guy that never embarrassed the franchise.
Mhm.
He absolutely adored the fans. He played every day.
Every
That's
day.
another thing. The guy played 160 games a year,
Yeah,
and like you just shit on him. So good for Pete for getting his money and not and ultimately having the balls to not turn around and tell the Mets, "Listen, I got this offer." No, you screwed me two off seasons in a row.
yep.
Well, now I'm gonna take care of me.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'll always be a Pete Alonso fan.
Me
I will
too.
root, I will root for him the rest of his career. Like you said, he has done absolutely nothing but positive and connecting with this fan base. We wish him nothing but the best in Baltimore.
Absolutely.
We actually might take a trip down to Baltimore just to see
Yeah.
him.
And I'm gonna make a prediction right now.
Go.
That series in September, when the Orioles come back to Citi Field, that's gonna be the biggest crowd the Mets draw all season.
Yeah.
That first game against Baltimore is gonna be the biggest crowd of the season, and the fans, and I kinda hope it is. I hope the fans go in there, and I hope they let Cohen and Stearns know how bad you fucking dropped the ball on this one, because
Yeah.
this is devastating.
Because you know what? Credit the Wilpons when the Wilpons have credit. They would have never let a guy like Pete Alonso walk out the door.
Never.
They would have never let their franchise guy, no matter how much money they would have paid. To now, were they frugal? Were they cheap with their money? Sure, we get it. They never wanted to sign Vladdy. They didn't want to sign A-Rod. We get it.
Right.
But they've proven with David Wright that they would have kept him. You have the all-time leader in home runs, and we could speak about this until our faces are blue. But they would have never let Pete walk out the door. So
No.
Cohen has a lot of reflecting to do. And
I mean, listen, they did it with Reyes, but to your point, they identified David Wright as that guy.
yes,
And like I said earlier, I will never take anything away from Fred and Jeff Wilpon. They did a lot of bad, a
they
lot of bad.
they even brought back Reyes
Right.
when the opportunity came. They were like, you know what, the time, come back, and he came
Yeah.
back. And that 2016 season, he whatever happened happened. But was that the wild card year? Yeah, that was the wild card year.
Yeah.
Like he
They did
was
a
there.
lot of wrong.
Right.
But David Wright, they handled
Yeah.
absolutely perfect. And
Yeah.
credit to them because Steve Cohen, this is embarrassing. And you might as well stay in hiding because this guy pumped his chest. He came here. He sold us a dream.
Yeah.
We're going to do this 3 to 5 years. I don't care what it takes to spend, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying, I just want to say,
Yeah.
I'm not saying resign Pete, resign Diaz, then sign Bellinger, sign Tucker, trade for Scooble. No,
Mhm.
that's not what we need.
Mhm.
If you trade Nimmo, it's okay.
Mhm.
Am I gonna like I said, it better not be a parallel move.
Right.
But the fact that you let Diaz and Alonso walk, and like those are the two guys that there was no problem with last year.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Steve Cohen is, as of right this second, looks like an absolute fraud.
And my thing is, and this will be the we'll end it here. The Mets fan base has always been, since the beginning of the franchise, a blue collar, working class franchise fan base that loves this team, whether they're the worst team in baseball or the best team in baseball. For him to come out and I'm going to keep driving this because in my mind, this is the narrative that he portrays. For him to beg for us to show up to the stadium, we break records in terms of attendance. And then this is the offseason you follow that up with?
Well, let's do the opposite now.
My point
Plain and
exactly.
simple.
My
Plain and
point
simple.
exactly.
And I didn't get to say this earlier before we end. I just want to say, like, Mets fans, sit back now and when we got to eat shit from Yankee fans because we pounded our chest and we threw
Oh, yeah.
Soto in their face and this and that. And now we got to take it because guess what? That team over there, all the respect in the world because they would never, and they didn't even they let him test it. They will never let Aaron Judge walk out that door.
No,
And Aaron Judge is the better player than Alonso. I'm not comparing the
obviously,
player,
but the
but
franchise player to franchise player, it's parallel in
yeah,
terms of who that player means to that franchise.
right.
Yeah, well, like I said,
This was
rough
this was
week,
this was them spitting in our face.
100%. But let's raise parking. Let's keep raising that parking, guys.
Well, we won't have to worry about it because I won't be there.
Yeah, I agree. But all right, guys, that is the premiere episode of season 2 of the SheaLess podcast. Like I said, Vinny and I wish that it was on better circumstances. But like always, we appreciate every single one of you guys. We appreciate all the support. We are officially back, so we will be coming back with our weekly episodes. While the off season is here, our episodes will be just a little bit shorter. And then as we ramp up spring training and the beginning of the season, we'll go back to our regular format. But like always, guys, thank you so much for watching the SheaLess podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.